Hello guys, good morning. So it is Friday. Woohoo! So I get to see my kids this week and I'm so excited. I miss them so much. So anyways, last night I went to sleep and this freaking video was like shaking so bad. I went to sleep and I woke up like I had to use the bathroom. I guess it was around 4 or so. I don't know the time, maybe 5, I don't know. Probably earlier than that, probably about 4, like 3:30 or something. I don't know what time it was. But I remember waking up and then this real sadness sweeps over me or something. And it was like I was dreaming about my family, like my mama and my mama, and then it was like it just swooped over me and it hit me like all my parents and my family were gone, and I was like, what the crap's going on here? And so obviously I was dreaming about that. I don't know, like I was talking about my grandma yesterday to this person, and so I don't know if that triggered it off and I dreamt about it or what. I don't even know what I dreamt. The only thing that I remember is waking up to complete sadness and thinking about my mama and just everybody that's passed on. And then I was thinking, like, you know, man, all of my family's pretty much gone. And that feeling has stayed around me today. It's weird. I don't know. It's just like a heaviness of like sadness, like, you know, missing, longingness. I don't know. And let me know if that's ever happened to you guys. But anyways, I do know, like, when the seasons change, sometimes I start like missing them more, like when it gets close to holidays and stuff like that. But I hate when this happens. It's just like it just seeps on you for a while. But I really just think it's where I miss my grandma and my mom a whole lot, and I was talking about them, and I miss all of my family that's passed away, aunts, uncles, mama, papa, and I don't know, just let me know if that's ever happened to you all. And it's the weirdest feeling ever. It's like sort of like you're reliving their death and their grief all over again, but it's not as bad, but it's there. It's like it's heart wrenching, and it just like grabs your soul for a minute, and it feels like it suffocates you like during that time. But I woke up and I was like, well, I went into praying, and I don't know, it's sad, but you know, you can't question why things happen, but we do. I know that I questioned why things happened when my mom died and stuff like that, and my dad at a young age. But I don't know. And then I got my brother on my mind real bad, because like I've not talked to him in, Lord, probably a month. I don't even know how long. You get caught up with work and you get caught up with life, and it's just how it goes sometimes. And I was missing him, and I was getting him on my mind, and like, you know, these feelings like you get like something's wrong or something's going to happen or crap like that. So I'm gonna give him a call today and see how he's doing. But I hate when that happens. Sometimes when you get somebody on your mind and stuff, it could be for a reason. It could be for a warning. Because it's happened to me with my mom. You know, whenever a month before she passed away, I had this real bad dream. I couldn't really place out what the dream was about, but I just knew something was going to happen to my mama. And so I had called her up. It took me a couple of days to even call her, because I was scared. I didn't understand, you know. And so finally I called her up, and she, you know, I said, Mama, I don't know what it is, but God said be prepared, you know. And she's like, well, what is it, Stephanie? I said, I don't know, Mama. I didn't think it was death. I didn't think she was going to die. And this is no joke. Like a month or so later, after that dream, she passed away. And I think whenever she died, it was like the Lord was trying to let me know and let her know, you know, be ready for this. but I just knew that in the dream that happened, it was just complete devastation. And sure enough, she passed away. She came over. I had just had my second little girl. I had Gracie, and you know, going through having a baby, and I was sick with my heart and stuff, and I hadn't been able to go see her that much because I was like really sick. And during that time, that was whenever I was finding out I was having heart trouble, but they thought it was due to pregnancy. But when I went into labor with her, you know, my heart really acted up, my SVT and stuff. But she had, like I said, I didn't get to see her that much. I mean, I would, but not as much as I wanted to. Like, normally I would see my mom every day. Then I didn't see her but maybe once every so often, you know. And so whenever I had my baby, I had Gracie, and my mama was in there. We picked her up whenever I had her. And, well, some things came up amongst the family, so she had to, you know, go back home, and she was wanting to stay with me in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. But I told her, you know, go on home, you know, because I've got O negative blood, and I have to get that shot, RhoGAM shot, before and after. So they always kept me in an extra day in there in the hospital. So anyways, after I came back home and, you know, going through all that, going through the emotions with having my second child and being used to just having the one child, and I worried about Katie, about like, was she getting enough attention, you know, just all the emotions that normal, you know, stuff happens. And so 6 weeks later, well, let's see, a few days before that mark, my mom shows up at my house, because like I said, I hadn't been able to get out and see her, and she came up there to see us. And she didn't get to see Gracie but a handful of times, 1 or 2 times. And she comes up there, and I noticed that she looked really fatigued, and she looked, her legs were swollen, and she just didn't look good at all. And I was like, well, what's wrong with you, Mom? And she says, I just don't feel good. And you know, she was kind of depressed at the time, and her husband had passed away like a month or so prior to that. And I said, well, maybe you need to go to the doctor, because she had been saying that she had some stuff going on with her heart, like racing and stuff. And I'm like, you know, go to the doctor. And she's like, I can't do that, I don't have insurance yet. And I said, it don't matter, go on. Well, she never would. Finally, she went to this walking clinic, or this other place that hooked her up with some medicine. It's not the walking clinic, it's something else that they give to people that can't afford doctors. Health department. They gave her some blood pressure medicine and all that. Well, she had been in a wreck prior to that. She was waiting, you know, to get accepted for insurance and all this stuff, so she didn't really go to the right kind of doctor that she needed to go to. And so she was there, and I knew that she didn't look right. I didn't really pay that much attention because I was sick myself. I wasn't feeling good, so in my mind I didn't think nothing was bad wrong with her, you know. I just knew that she needed to go to the doctor. And so she sat there for a while, and right when she was leaving, she kissed me 3 times on my lips. My mama never kissed me on my lips, ever. Like, she would hug me, and we would hug, but never would she kiss me. And I'm trying not to get emotional with this mess, but today's one of those days. And she kissed me, and I said, well, what's wrong with you, Mama? I said, why are you doing that? And she said, well, can I kiss you, Stephanie? I said, yeah. So I didn't think nothing of it, but at the time I was like, well, that's weird, you know. And she didn't have a whole lot of money at the time, so I said, well, I'm gonna go down here and see my mama or something. Like, I was getting out of the house because I was tired of sitting. And I said, follow me down here to McDonald's, because it was on her way, and I'll get you something to eat. She's like, no, you don't have to do that. I said, yeah, I want to. So she met me there, and I got her something to eat. And she got her food and went on home. Well, a couple of days later, she called me, and I was like, that in particular time, all the lights in the house were off. Like, the electric in the whole area went off. So I was trying to look for like a lighter and a candle and stuff. So I said, "What is it, Mama?" And she's like, "I was just wanting to talk to you." I said, "Well, I'm gonna have to call you back because, you know, all the lights in the house are off." And I never did call her back. I forgot. You know, my mother-in-law was there, and, you know, I was in the midst of trying to get my crap, you know, the lights on and stuff, and I totally forgot. Well, that next day, I was going to get my braces tightened and stuff, and that whole morning, I'm like, well, something's wrong. My mama hadn't called me. You know, she would call me right on the nail early in the morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Every morning she would call me. I said, something's wrong, you know, and sure enough, it was. I got a phone call and she passed away. So, you know, just stuff like that, how stuff like that happened so dramatically, and so it's just, I don't know. And then when you get these waves of emotion, it's like, wow, really? And I hate when this crap happens. But, you know, we never know when our last time on this earth is going to be here. We never know. And so whenever I start feeling like this, I'm always worried because of all the dramatic crap that's happened in my life. And yeah, this place is packed out. I've got to get Johnny's license renewed, or his tags renewed, and it's just unbelievable. So I'm going to go back around. So whenever you get these feelings, you always get overwhelmed and concerned. My mama was 40 years old, and she was a lot like me, but she was like, she didn't wear makeup. She was a very plain person. Ever so often I'll put makeup on her, and, you know, I would, right before she passed away, I painted her toenails, and she's like, "Lord, people's going to talk about me." I said, who cares if people talks about you for wearing makeup? And but I did that, and I put little butterflies on her toes. But I remember right before she passed away, and guys, I never was outspoken. I never was as sassy as I was until my mama died. And right before she died, some things was going on, and she looked at me one day and she said, "Stephanie," she's like, "I'm gonna tell you something." She said, "You're gonna have to start standing up for yourself and stop letting people run over you." She said, "I'm not gonna be here for always," because my mama was always there for me. Any little thing that was going on in my life, she was there. And I never did really think anything about it. Like, I didn't really have the balls to, you know, open my mouth and tell people how I feel. But whenever I lost her and everything, my life did a 360. Like, crap. My life did a 360. My whole world changed. Like, everything about my world changed. And it's hard for me to talk about her because she was so special to me. But sometimes it's good for us to talk about them, you know. It took me 5 complete years to truly let the passing of my mom go. I would be driving down the road and seeing people with their parents, and I'd be like, that's so unfair. And then, like, driving down the road and seeing people, like, or like in stores or whatever, and seeing people mean to their moms, I was like, you know, that is so unfair. I had all the anger, I had all the hurt, I had all the, just everything, all the emotions mixed in one. And it took me 5 whole complete years to truly accept the death of my mom, and to let it go, and to know, like, I knew that she was dead, but I just didn't want to accept it and let it go. And I remember looking back, and I've talked about this before, but I remember looking back, and 5 years on that mark, I remember, like, during those times, I would just be gazing in the TV and not even watching TV. I'd be sitting there with Katie and Gracie, and they'd be watching, you know, Barney and stuff. Keep in mind, whenever I had Gracie was 6 weeks old when my mom died. So I had the death of my mother and the birth of my daughter. And those, like, I was happy about having her, but I was sad. And I went through this phase where it wasn't fair, you know, because I should be completely happy, and then I had my daughter. So I had all these emotions going on. But I'm going to tell you something. That 5-year mark of my mother's passing, I remember sitting at the couch. And I remember staring into the couch. Staring into the TV. And I think SpongeBob was playing at the time. Katie, like, the girls they had these 2 little recliners, and they each were sitting in there. Keep in mind, this was five years after her passing. And I was dazing off into that TV, and I remember looking, and I remember crying inside, like my whole spirit was just down, and I was so alone, and I was in such of a dark place that it was just horrible. And I remember praying. And I said, in my mind, I said, God, I can't do this no more. I couldn't hang on anymore. And I said that. And I had never really told God that, you know, and meant it, that I couldn't handle it anymore. And so I said that prayer within my spirit, you know, God, I can't do this no more. And it was like a light switch that came on. And, you know, looking back, I'll never forget it, because I remember how low and devastated I was. Or there's some lawyers coming out. I'm up here at the courthouse. But I remember how low and devastated I was. And the moment I said, God, I can't do this no more, I remember God speaking within my spirit, and it was like a light switch. It came on. And He said, if you take 1 step, I'll take 2. I shook myself off that day, and it was like I had life again. And that's one time that God moved in my life that I really didn't think I could ever get past it. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for all of the times that God spared me for when I was like drowning in my own self-pity and sorrow, you know, because none of us are promised today. None of us are promised tomorrow. But if you've never experienced losing your mother, and like, you know, I had already lost my father, and but my mom was the hardest part ever of my life. And if you've never experienced that, I was young. I just had a 6-week-old baby, and I was going through the motions of trying to be happy for her, and, you know, be happy that I had a child, and then at the same time, all of this grievance, and, you know, day after day I would get up and be crying every day, but yet I had this beautiful baby here. But, you know, God taught me so much about having faith, and He taught me so much about, you know, being strong and hanging on. So I know that if you're going through anything in your life, and maybe God made me feel this way to where I could share, you know, what He's done for me and brought me through, because if you've not been in my shoes, and if you've not lost a mom, you don't know. You really don't. You know, there's if you lose your mom, like, say, either way is hard. But if you've lost your mom and you knew that she had cancer and she was dying, and you had a chance to tell her bye, you know, that's hard too, but you get the opportunity to tell her bye. If you lose your mom and everything was right and she passes, and it's unexpectedly, that is so hard, because you never had the chance to say goodbye. But my daddy died the same way, and it's just, it's so much harder, and it's so devastating. But, you know, we're not prone to have death which way it's supposed to be. Death is the way God wants it to be, and when your card's pulled, you got to go. So, you know, it's very important to love, and it's very important to love with all your heart, because one day they won't be here. And I'm so emotional today. That freaking dream that I had has really, you know, brought this up. But maybe this will help somebody that's going through death, or, you know, some things I've learned that you just gotta let go. but there's, like, I'm going to be writing a book one day because I have been through so much. And people say, well, what have you been through? You know, I've been through a lot. And I'm not saying that to boast on me, because that hell that I've been through, that was a lot. And I know all the things that God has brought me from. I know where I've been. I know, you know, all the times that He pulled me out whenever I was just sinking. I know. So I've been through so much being a young person, like, so much. And I want to do some videos on, like, my heart issues and, like, all of that crap that I went through. But a lot of this stuff I can't talk about because I've got to be ready. Like, you know, this about my mom and stuff, I've got to be ready for it, because if I'm not, it just makes me a complete mess, which I got very emotional here. But, you know, it's okay to cry. It's okay to, you know, express how you feel, because, you know, a lot of people holds that crap in, and I was one that would hold it in. I never would talk about it, and it will consume you. It will consume you completely. So if you have family, and if you have parents still, love them, you know, take the time to go see them. My sweet little old mama, I would go over there every freaking weekend, sometimes 2 and 3 times a week. During the summer, I'll take my kids over there, and it really hurts me too, because my kids have already, you know, encountered death, you know, with their grandparents and stuff, and I know how it hurts. So for me to know that they hurt, it hurts me, because I wish I could take it away. They don't talk about it, you know, they don't. Every now and again they'll bring up Granny or Mama Lovelace and stuff like that, but we would go over there, and we made so many memories. And, you know, if only I could have one more time, you know. That's what sometimes I think that. But I know my sweet little old grandma, she's in a better place. You know, with her, it was hard for me to let her go, but I did know that she had walked so many long miles in this life, and I knew that she had went through so much in this life, and I knew she's, you know, in a better place, and she's in a mansion, and she has everything she wants. So love your family, love your friends, because, you know, you never know when tomorrow is your last day. We don't. And there's so much hate and freaking anger in this world, but they seem to forget that could be you. You know, these people in Texas, you know, like, some people's lost their whole family, and then there's some left with, like, you know, like, one parent's left and they've lost their whole family, kids and all. You know, that could be us. But God is gracious to us, and for whatever reason, He spares us, you know, until it's our time to go. So you need to think about that. You know, in my life, I don't have time for freaking drama and, you know, bickering and fussing and fighting. I've had my share with that a long time ago. Growing up, living in hell. I don't do that. You know, life is too short. You need to live and love, and you need to keep the faith, and you need to, you know, hold on to the Lord, because at the end of the day, the Lord is all that we have. And, you know, I just don't get how this world could be so cold, and, you know, people are so cruel, and they love making fun of people and talking about people, when at the end of the day, they're not perfect. And at the end of the day, they're human, and they have feelings too. What are they covering up? And I feel sorry for these people. What has made you so cold-hearted and not to care about, you know, talking about others and putting others down? You know, there's stuff in your life as well that's not, you know, where it needs to be. Maybe you are depressed. You know, there's just stuff that everybody deals with in life. We all have things that we deal with in life. There's nobody greater than one or the other. So, you know, those of you that, like I said, have a mom or a dad, or, you know, brothers or sisters, love them, cherish them, because one day they won't be here. I went into a whole conversation of that, didn't I? But I do feel a little bit better now. But I woke up and it was like freaking, and yes, I looked in the camera here to see my makeup. I wasn't looking at myself, but I was getting this makeup off my face. But that feeling was just like, it brought me back to such of sadness, and remembering that feeling, it was like it just tugged at my heart and my soul, and I was like, wow, what did I dream? I don't even remember what I dreamt. And all I remembered is waking up thinking of my mama and my mama. And then I got my brother on my mind, so I'm gonna have to give him a call and see what's going on over there. But yeah, you know, behind this smile, and I love life, I live my life, I try